The 8-man tag team match number 2 that was put together from the angle on Wednesday Night Dynamite, where people just ran in and out and were routed and left, and other people came to attack and take their place. Remember, with Sting and Jericho and Darby Allin and Sammy and Starks and Big Bill and Hobbs and Take a and the Don Fowlis organization.
Shammy.
Shimmy. And of course, Wednesday night, as we mentioned earlier in this broadcast, if you hadn't heard it, if you haven't already heard, you will hear, like Nick Goulas used to say. This was before the Jericho controversy became a thing on social media. So on Wednesday night, they were just kind of, okay. But tonight, it's all sunk in on him. And they gave him the entrance first. And, again, as I mentioned earlier, the people were still singing. Is it possible they still like the song, but they hate the singer? Don't hate the sin, hate the sinner, or what is that old saying? But
they like audience participation.
Well, there you go.
This is the era of audience participation, whether it's The Rock making them say corny things or whether it's an awful song by an aging wrestler. They just want to participate.
Watch how you bandy the word corny around. But so
I'm sorry, I didn't even realize that. Yeah,
they had the music up loud, and they had lots of singing. And when they cut the music, there was some singing, and then the boos started. But then they quickly transitioned to Sammy's music, and I think they were pretty goddamn blasé either way, to be honest, on whether Sammy walked out there or not, in my estimation. I don't know that the people were really stirred in their loins, one in a positive or negative fashion.
He's the perfect example of someone who's been booked under because he switched back and forth so many times. When the fans were ready to accept him as a babyface, whatever, the way he was booked, the way he was used, his behavior.
No, remember, he was starting to get over as a heel, and he hurt himself, and he was booked like an idiot. He was starting to get over as a babyface, and that's when people found out that he really was kind of a dick in person.
And then it was him and his wife, and they were a heel combo that the fans really did hate. And now he's back, and he has a baby, so that makes him a babyface, I guess.
Well, yeah, suddenly, can you imagine if they'd have kept her on TV, coming out pregnant, being a real bitchy fucking whining, moaning, oh, my goddamn ovaries hurt, and oh, my goddamn hemorrhoids.
Don't give them ideas, please.
Well, it's too late now.
Let's try it with someone else.
Well, there are apparently a lot of people in that company are trying to get other people pregnant. But anyway, back to this match. So then Sammy's entrance stopped while he was still in the aisleway. He's partners with Jericho. But they just transitioned to Darby, and Darby's music played for like 15 seconds, and he stopped on the ramp to wait for Sting. And then Sting's music plays, and it's the biggest babyface reaction of the combination for a 65-year-old man because he's the biggest star. But why? I understand when babyfaces stop on the ramp to wait for their partners when the heel team is in the ring. You don't want to get in outnumbered. But his entrance got cut off, and Darby just got 15 seconds to wait until his big brother Sting came out so that he could, I guess, ride him piggyback. There was no single spotlight for these guys with their own team in the ring. That makes no sense. And then Stark's music, and here comes him and Large William, and then the Fowlis family. And we mentioned it was slapped together, on the Wednesday night TV after they had gotten the news about Kenny having problems with his guts.
After the issue with the painting.
Well, but Jericho was originally going to be with Kenny against the tag team champions and blah, blah, blah. So they had to start from scratch with all of that chaos. And here again, we mentioned in the preface on Jericho from the start of it, the fans clearly liked a couple of people in the match. They clearly didn't give a shit whether a couple of people in this match were in it. And they definitely didn't want to approve of anything that Chris Jericho did. So as a result, when Sammy tagged Jericho in, they booed. And the spinneroonie with Sammy and Jericho's pose, they booed. But then,
And it wasn't a Don Callis, Dominic Mysterio booing where people were smiling. It was a statement booing.
no, it was like, oh, ooh, just a steady, ooh, we don't want you. Ooh, we want you to hear this. And then, but then other guys would get in. And by the way, what was Big Bill trying to do to Jericho, though? Was he trying on purpose to pick him up just randomly and throw him in the air and drop him on his head to get over with the crowd? Because he did it like twice where you didn't know what he was trying to do, and Jericho didn't look like knew how he was supposed to land.
If you watch this match with the idea that the people wrestling Jericho are pissed at him just like the fans are and don't want to be in there with him, you can come away from it believing that. Ricky Starks giving him the middle finger and getting out of the ring while the fans cheer him doing it. I mean, that was an amazing moment.
Oh, my God. Anyway, I don't know what, maybe Bill was being paid under the table to try to take Jericho out, but that was sloppy at best. And then Darby and Take a Shit would get in there and they'd go 100 miles an hour. And, Take a Shit would stop him and do a spinning power bomb of some kind off the top rope. And I'm looking and people were on their fucking hands. And you would think they'd be, they would ooh if it looked like somebody really got hurt. But the crowd was not, they actively wanted to appreciate Sting his last time in New York, and they wanted to tell Jericho, fuck you verbally. And otherwise, there was no life to this match in the ring or in the crowd. And did you see the part where Big Bill and Hobbs get in there and grab Darby like the old hammock throw thing, right? Arms and legs. And they're standing there ready to throw him 20 feet across the ring, get ready, get set. And none of Darby's partners are even blinking an eye or making a move to try to stop it or to try to be blocked off by the referee or what. They're just getting it over with. And then finally, Darby, and they chanted, "We want Sting," finally, right as I think Darby took the hint. And he gave Sting a hot tag. It was actually a hot tag, miraculously enough. And the comeback was sloppy because he's 65. But it was they finally came back to life because he's the star. And then when Jericho came in to help Sting's comeback, they started booing again and started chanting Kylie Ray and NDA and that stuff. And they then went back into more goddamn match. And the action stopped for a second. Well, more than a second, but for a few minutes. And then it went back to being there's no reaction until Jericho then hit a code breaker on Bill and got booed again. And that's one of the times where Big Bill picked him up and dropped him in a heap. And it was the dichotomy of where they were cheering and booing, not for a side to win or a team to win, but individual people that they liked or didn't like in the goddamn mixed up 8-man tag match bullshit. And I'm not sure that Take a Shit should be having his shit no-sold by fucking Sting. They've just minimalized.
Yeah, why not? They've done nothing right by him since he first got used as a heel and was getting over. And you were like, wow, there's your next top heel. This guy's great. And since that time, he's been buried.
Yeah.
I don't even mean buried just in the booking, buried in the background.
And he doesn't know how to fight for himself, and English is his second language, so he needs it. Boy, can you imagine what Gary Hart would be doing with him right now?
Can you imagine if instead of Gary Hart, the Great Muta was listening to Kenny and Don Callis and people like that? Boy. I mean, that's the problem.
But anyway, so, and then they had the part, as I said, where I think that was, Jericho gets in and puts the walls of Jericho on Hobbs, and they boo. They boo the babyface for punishing the heel. But then Sting got the Scorpion on Take a Shit right next to him, and they cheered. And then Starks super kicked Jericho, and they cheered. And then Starks speared Sammy, and they cheered. And I'm like, whose side are they on? And finally, Sammy went up to the top and took a while and gave the shooting star press to Ricky Starks. 1, 2, 3. Starks got beat by Sammy Guevara. Starks is one of the two people I actually responded to positively all throughout this man and Darby, 3. And Sammy, the guy that universally everybody was like, fuck. Or should I say, he gets the pin. And did we notice that finally the only time the people actually stood up and cheered and showed appreciation was after the other team was out of the ring and everybody gave Sting his last hurrah. And Jericho, of course, was the last one to back out of the ring to do that. But that was the excitement, was appreciating Sting for his last time in New York.
This was, for a really, really bad match that fell apart, it was quite the spectacle. It was like one of those really bad matches you can't take your eyes off. Something has to improve it. Nothing ever improved it. And Jericho was the problem. The problem also is when you have an audience that's more smart fans than family fans. I don't know what you want to call it. Casual may not even be the word anymore. The people that get over aren't the people that... the baby faces aren't going to get over like baby faces. The heels aren't going to get over like heels. The people that are good at what they do and are used well are who are going to get over. Or who they want to see used better.
Yes, sometimes people get over with the fans when they're used like shit out of sympathy.
Well, Ricky Starks is a great example of that.
Yeah.
He's been booked like shit for a long time and the fans chose him a while ago. They never gave up on that. Jericho, he got Sting booed. He had to get out of the rings. They were booing Sting at the very end. They better figure out a way to deal with this. This isn't going away. And here's an update, and we'll tie this into the show somehow. But Nick Hausman has put out a tweet saying he has not walked back anything.
Oh!
That he's not the one who put the name Kylie Ray out there. And whatever he's referencing, he's not walking back. So this isn't going away. They better figure out how they're going to deal with it.
In an unwieldy fashion, expressing sympathy for her name being drug into this, that he didn't do it. But he's not saying that he doesn't stand by any of his other reporting.
And is Jericho going to start? I mean, they're going to pull Jericho from Dynamite? They're in Newark, I think, tonight. It's the same market. It's the same market as the Nassau Coliseum.
Oh, those New Jersey assholes.
I mean, where's he going to be able to work that people aren't going to react to this if it's never addressed and never denied and doesn't go away? And then if anything else trickles out, if they're booking him on TV or doing anything with the idea that something could trickle out, they're going to look like fools if they know about it. And if they pull him because they're waiting for something to come out, then what the hell's going on? This is a no-win situation for anyone involved.
Did you have to say trickle out?
You have a problem with trickle?
Could it have been just drip out? Trickle sounds so much more off-putting than drip.
All right, well, we can go with drip. Ric Flair goes with the drip, apparently, when he's doing whatever
he's
scheme he's up to.
Dripping and wooing and winging and